Hey everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Jeff from the New England Raider Booster Club here, coming in tonight. Flying solo right now. Um, just wanted to hit a few points on the club, and then get into some talk about the Raiders themselves. So if anybody's in there watching, comment away. Love to hear from you guys. See what you think. See what's going on. Talk about anything and everything Raiders and anything else special. Right now, just want to kind of hit out to the Booster Club members real quick. Just a reminder that the Raiders are playing Monday night against the Atlanta Falcons, so we will not be getting together as a group at the bar on Monday. So everybody kind of just chill, stay home, enjoy your Monday night, relax on the couch, and watch the game. And hopefully, we get a win out of this one too. Um, Reminder for all club members: December 22nd is our annual Christmas party. Starts at 1 o'clock. We have a 4 p.m. game that day against the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is next Sun. Is it next Sunday? It's a week from this Sunday. Um, the food is being purchased by the club. It's being cooked by two of our members, Kyle Rondo and Mike Radin will both be the chefs for us that day. They've got a pretty damn good menu too. We also will have the Dirty Santa. Usually the gift for that is, usually don't spend any more than $20 to $25 for the gift. And please, for the love of God, no Patriots gifts. Everybody knows the rule. Has to be something Raiders related. I don't care if it's a toothbrush, as long as it's Raiders paraphernalia. No Patriots. Um, and those of you that don't know what I'm referring to, because we live in the New England area, and someone usually tries to be a smarty and throws in a New England Patriots item. Nobody likes getting that. The other thing too is we still have the raffle that's going to be drawn on the 22nd for the neon sign for the Booster Club. All proceeds from that are going towards the uh, where is it? There it is. Roadhomerescue.org. They're an organization in the area that deals with adopting, helping dogs get adopted. Um, it's a great organization. We're accepting any type of donations as far as food, dog food only. They only deal with dogs. Dog food, dog toys, collars, leashes. If you go to that website that I just put the link up for, it's also in the bio down below too on the in the channel. Um, you can see the list of things that they're looking for as far as type of foods and any type of toys. They don't care. Um, so feel free to, if you want to bring something like that also. And anybody else out there that wants to donate, that's the direct link to their website if you want to donate to them, or you want to donate to us, and then we'll do a collective donation to them on your behalf, along with the funds that we're going to donate from the club. Hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, anything you want to hit me up on. I'll put the links up here. But if you go in the description in the channel, down below in the bio for this chat, you'll see the link tree link. If you click on that, that brings you to all our social media platforms for the club. So go ahead and click on that, and that'll bring you to everything that we're on. So there's YouTube's on there, Instagram, TikTok, our Booster Club website, Facebook group page. It is a private page, so if you do want to become a member of the club on the Facebook, there's not like an actual like a paid member that you pay dues for. But if you want to get in on the Facebook group, you're more than welcome to. It is a private group. The executive board and myself are the ones that allow people. We accept or decline people. So as long as you show anything in your pictures or in your bio that you're a Raiders fan, you're automatically going to get in. We're not going to deny you. We do that because we don't want New England Patriots fans or Chiefs fans coming in there and posting stupid stuff. So we weed those people out. Also on that in that link, you're going to see the our Twitter or our X account is in there also. So we don't have many games left to get together as a club this year. Um, so right now we have. Let me just run through the schedule with everybody while we on that topic. So if we go to schedule, so this week it's a Monday night game, so we won't be together then. Week 16 is the game against Jacksonville. It's at 4:25 p.m. The Christmas party starts at 1. Don't forget, we also do 50-50, but we pay out twice on the 50-50. The club doesn't keep the other half. So there will be 2 winners on the 50-50. What else do we have here? We will have some other raffle items and door prizes also that day too. We did put together, spoke with Dawn, who's our treasurer, and she put together some package deals, specials for the holidays on our merchandise. So that will be on display there. Also a reminder that I did order winter hats for the club. Um, I've got they're going to be like this style. They're going to be this style beanies, pretty much just as you see this one, which we don't have anymore. So we figured we'd order some more of those. I've also got 5 coming this style, but in pink, but with black lettering. Um, I forget what we said the prices on those were. I think those were. Hang on a second. I want to make sure I'm right on the prices. I don't want to. Oh, where's my pad? Hang on a second. There's so much running through my head. I can't remember everything. What did we say we were doing those at? The hats are going to be 20 each. We're gonna have a limited run on them. We're gonna have 25 in total, 20 black and 5 pink. Um, then we also got magnets. We got about 50 magnets coming in. Um, they're gonna be in the shape of a football. It's gonna have our QR code that takes you to the link tree account. So when you have that magnet on your car, if somebody's looking for it, looking for information on the club, they can just scan that QR code and it'll bring them to everything too. Not sure we're going to have those items in time for the Christmas party. They might not come in until after the fact. So kind of hoping that they're going to be here in time, but there's no guarantee that they will be. I know that there was a request for long sleeve shirts and such, but the only thing is, if we do the long sleeve shirts, because we just don't want to be stuck with a bunch of inventory, what we may end up doing in the future is start doing like pre-orders. We might need to hit a certain number of items, but as long as everything's prepaid, that's fine. If we have a minimum of like say 50 shirts, I don't want to go and spend the money to order 50 shirts and then we're stuck with all that merchandise. So we may do like a pre-order on those. So we've got some thoughts on some other material, other merchandise for next year. But we need to do what we can to raise some funds for the upcoming season, for the 2025 season, because based on how the schedule's looking right now, not the schedule, but the standings are looking right now, there's a really good chance that the Raiders are going to be playing the Patriots, and it could be here in New England too. So we need to be ready for that as a club, which means, why do we need to be ready for it? Well, traditionally, the club that's in the vicinity of whatever NFL team the Raiders are playing on the road, that's the club that usually hosts a Saturday night pregame party the night before our game. So with that being said, because if they come here, that would be us that we would have to try or we have to come up and we have to do some sort of a pregame party. Um, but we're going to need money to do it. So we're going to need help. We're going to need a lot of the club members to help out with that because there's a lot to do. But not only with the pregame party, but come Sunday, the day of the games, or the day of the game, we're going to be putting on a tailgate too for it. So we're going to need a lot of help for that for both days. So as soon as we know the schedule, like we'll already know whether we're playing here or not, usually like around draft time, but we won't know the exact dates until a little bit later on after the draft. But as soon as we get dates, we're going to have to figure out where we're going to host it. Probably going to be at the Fireman's Hall, more than likely. Then as far as the tailgate, we're going to have to figure that one out because I know that they charge for the parking lot and everything, and it's not cheap. So we're going to have to come up with a plan for that too. So that's pretty much it as far as club news. As far as what we're doing with the upcoming events and such. Um, After the 1st of January, oh, don't forget, yes, elections are going to be held now too. Elections will be on the 22nd, the day of the Christmas party. Uh, Voting will cease at halftime, and then after halftime, the votes will be collected and counted, and then we will know who won by before the end of the game. And the offices will take effect on January 1st of 2025. After that, that's when we usually have our first meeting for the year as an executive board to set up the events that we're going to do for the 2025 year. So as soon as we get those dates set and locations, all that stuff will come out and everybody will be aware of it. Um, so let's move on to the Raiders. Let's talk a little bit about them now. Obviously, as everybody knows, we just lost on Sunday to Tampa Bay. Um, Overall, it was bad, nasty performance on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. Um, everybody's like, "Well, O'Connell looked like crap." Yeah, the whole team looked like crap. The only bright spot in the entire game really was the runner by McCormick, a rookie. Well, not a rookie, but McCormick. McCormick, that's his third game in a row now. He's improving every game. So we're getting some semblance of a running game. Offensive line still needs some serious work. There's that one play where um, O'Connell got stepped on, and I saw who it was, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" It's the one guy that I've been getting crap to for the last few weeks, and that's Parham. And when I saw that it was him, I'm like, "Well, I'm not surprised. I'm really not." Um, it sucks, the situation we're in. That we're excited that we've got a first pick. Having a first round pick is great. The first pick actually is a nice thing to have. Um, what's up, brother? How you doing? Oh, from Maui, man. Hey, how you doing? Um, having the first pick in the draft is always a nice thing, but with it comes issues, meaning your team sucks that you get the first pick in the draft. So it's like, now, well, what do we do with that pick? Because there's a good chance we could really screw this up. I know some people have seen my take on what I would like to see us do with that draft pick. I know it's not a popular one for the most part, but I stand by my convictions and I stand by what I suggest and what my thought process is on the whole situation. It's a little bit out there, but it's definitely something that can be done. It's something doable. See, my whole thing is why I'm so not on with Ward or Shador is the fact that I don't like staking our draft and the future of our team, whether it be long term future or even short term future, on just one player that may or may not even work out in the long run. When you've got the ability with that first pick, and you could end up turning this into something where you're getting multiple picks, for something that's going to be sustainable for a few years. It's you've already got a quarterback in O'Connell. I know some people don't like that, but this is why I have my little sign. If anybody watched the show last night, I pulled this out last night. Operation AOC 12 2024 got sidetracked, but now it's a Operation 2025 is back on now, seeing as though O'Connell's going to be good to go and possibly play on Monday night. So that's a good sign that he's not going to be out long term for his health, if for his future as an NFL player. I'm glad it's not a serious issue. Um, but my feeling was always that he's set up to be a perfect bridge quarterback for us if we're going to draft one in the draft. But I don't think we should draft either Ward or Sanders. There's plenty of quarterbacks in this draft that could be the future of this team that you can get in the second round and beyond. My thought process is if we finish the season with the number one pick in the draft. Now, again, this all really depends on what the situation with the coach is. Do we still have AP? Do we have a new coach? Do we have a new OC? Even if AP still here, is it going to be the same offensive coordinator? Is it going to be the same defensive coordinator? So there's so many different tangibles here that could alter before that pick's even made. So these are just kind of like my pipe dreams as to what I would like to see us do. I mean, who knows? Maybe they have the same thought process. It'd be awesome because then I'd look like a fucking genius. Um, but my thought was with that first pick, we take Travis Hunter. I know that's not a popular choice either from a lot of people. A lot of people don't want him though. So I say if we take Travis Hunter and then we see what happens a few picks after we pick, who's still there leading up towards as it's getting closer to the 10th pick. And if it looks like somebody that we're looking for as like the next best player available that's going to be a fit for us and a need, we try and trade back into the first round. And by trading back into the first round, there's pretty much only one option to be able to do this, and that would be to take our first pick from the 2026 draft, a first round pick. Offer up the third round pick from the Jets that we're getting this year for Devontae Adams, and try and get back into that first round, hopefully around pick number 10. Um, and at that point, you take whatever's best available. Those two quarterbacks are going to be gone at that point because the Giants are going to end up taking one, and I'm sure someone else is going to grab one of them. So those two quarterbacks are going to be gone. So your shot of getting either one of those two beyond the 10th pick is going to be slim to none. I still don't think they're a top 10 pick. I don't even think they're an early first round pick. I think they're more of a pick like for the 20s and the 30 picks, in that range. Um, so we trade back in and we get whatever's next available. Now I would still like to see us get a running back. I've seen a little bit more on what the hell's that kid's name from Arizona? Scambato, Zambrano. I forget his name. He looks pretty damn good. I know a lot of people are high on Genti, but you got to look at where he's coming from, what school, and just the talent that the opposition that they've played against. Whereas with Travis Hunter, you're getting a bona fide. The kid's a star. I mean, the kid's talented as hell. So the main reason I'm saying Travis Hunter is because you look at it this way. So you bring him in. Now you put him on one side. Now Jacoby Myers can move back over to the opposite side. So now you've got your two wide receivers. You already got Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is Brock Bowers. I mean, the kid's phenomenal. Um, then you've got Mike Mayer as your other tight end. So now you've got four bona fide receivers. In free agency, you try and grab Najee Harris. He's a free agent. He's going to come with, you're not going to have to spend a fortune for him. You bring him in as your bona fide number one running back. Behind him, you have him groom McCormick. And if we grab a running back in this draft, if it is Genti, it's Genti. You have these two. Yeah, that's it. Cam's Scatabo, whatever. Yeah. What's up, brother? How you doing? Um, you bring him in as your mentor for your running back room. Okay. So now you've already expanded your offensive firepower. And you haven't even touched on the need for a quarterback because Shador. If we grab Shador or Ward, they're not going to play first year. So whoever's playing, whether it's O'Connell or someone else, you got to give them weapons because it is going to be the same shit we're in right now. If we don't have a bona fide wide receiver out there, because Jacoby's a great wide receiver, but he's not a true number one. Um, I mean, I saw him because I live in New England, so I saw him when he played in New England, and I was excited when we got him because it was like, well, especially because Da was still here, so it's like, all right, this gives us somebody, you know, opposite of him that can take some heat off of him, but he's not like a true number one wide receiver. It doesn't mean he can't be, but right now I don't think he is. So it's all about getting draft picks, getting bodies into training camp, seeing where they fit with everything. There's plenty of quarterbacks that we can grab in the second round. I just don't agree with grabbing that first early quarterback. And now because you're going to be drafting a player that's not even going to play right away. He's just going to sit on the bench. It's not going to play. Deion's even said it. He'd love to see him sit for a year. Brady's already agreed that he should sit for a year. So everybody's on the same page as far as what to do with him if we get him, is that he's going to sit. So you're going to spend that high equity draft pick, and you're just going to sit his ass on the bench for a season. Whereas Hunter, he's going to play right away because you're going to need him to play right away. If you force one of these other two quarterbacks into starting right away, especially with our offensive line, we're going to get them killed. And if we can't beef up or build up that offensive line, whether it be in free agency or in the draft, which is why I'm saying we have to be active in the draft as far as moving around, trading up picks, trading back, moving up, getting more picks. The more picks we can get, the better. I know we get an extra compensatory pick for Jacobs, I believe. Even if it means and a lot of people aren't gonna like this one either. Even if it means we got to trade away Colt Miller on draft day and get something for him because he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season. We're going to lose him anyway. He's probably not going to stick around, and he's kind of lost the step. I mean, he's had a bad off year this year with the injury, and that shoulder injury is affecting him as far as getting off the ball. Yeah, Scatterbo, that's it. Yeah, I couldn't remember his name. Um, yeah, I mean, I would love to get that kid. What I've seen of him so far, I'm impressed. You know, um, I don't know what's your feeling on Sanders and Ward, Andre. What do you think? Who would you what would you like to see us do with that first pick? Yeah, yards after the catch, after the carry. Yeah, with the luxury with like a Hunter is if you absolutely need him, he can play in the secondary. Does that mean we should? No, we draft him as a wide receiver if we draft him. His primary function is to play as wide receivers. If you want to sneak him in for some special plays, if we have to play somebody like Minnesota or Cincinnati, and then you pair him, you put him. Yeah, I take on. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if you're going to pick that high of a draft pick, you want immediate return on that investment. This isn't like it was, 20 years ago where you drafted a Peyton Manning and he's starting right away type of caliber type kid. These kids are different, you know. Sanders and Wood, we really don't know what the hell we're gonna get. No, we don't. We don't. And that's why I don't like taking a gamble like that. And that's why I don't think it's a I mean, am I saying he's gonna suck in the NFL? No, I'm not saying that. But if you look at what we have currently on this roster for talent, he's not a right fit right now. And people are like, well, that's what you do with the draft. Yeah, I get that part. But you still got to look at what we currently have on this roster right now. Because if we can't get the right moves made and the right pieces, we're going to be stuck with the same crap we have now, being forced to re-sign the same people we have now because people aren't going to want to come here and play if we're not showing improvement in the draft. So if we just go and grab that one quarterback and we're forced to play him right away with what we have now, it's not going to be a good fit. He's not going to have enough talent around him. Brock Bowers isn't enough for him to, excel and get us wins. We need other pieces of that puzzle. So I mean, primarily, I mean the offensive line needs to be switched up a bit. JPJ is perfect, Glaze is perfect. Meredith's done a hell of a job on the left side at guard. Um, Parham, I'm not a fan of Parham. I haven't been all year. I've been rough on him all year on all the different panels I've been on so far this season. Um, and Miller is Miller. I mean, he's had good games, he's had bad games, but that injury is just a sticking point with him. Um, I, this draft it's such a or tricky situation this year because having that first pick is almost like a curse in a way because now you can get whoever the hell you want having that first pick. Yeah, that is a luxury, but you don't want to blow it either. I mean, we haven't had the best of luck with the number one overall picks. He's definitely a backup at best, but I I don't even want him on the team anymore. That's how I feel about him. I watch him. He comes off the line and he stands up too soon. He's too stiff. He gets bent over. He gets bent backwards too much because he doesn't have the leverage. He's just so out of physical position when he's coming off the line that it just doesn't look comfortable. Like he's not staying low enough to keep that center of gravity down to win those battles up tight. This is why he gets bowled over. You know, or he does something stupid like he's in the wrong, his foot's in the wrong spot and he ends up stepping on the quarterback. You know, so it's like I just texted me. Oh, the wife. I told her I'm going to be on a live show when you get home, so don't come walking in. Um, yeah. See, I mean, so I'm not the only one that sees this. Other people see it too. That he's just not. He's not playing up to what he should be for this team right now. I don't think he'd make a lot of actual other NFL teams right now either, Parham. But having again, getting back to that talking the first pick, having a first pick is can be a curse if it's not used right. We're already screwed as it is. We've already got enough curses and enough bullshit against us. The last thing we need now is to go ahead and flub another first draft pick. We did it once before with Jamarcus Russell. That was a god awful pick. You know, so I'm not saying that either one of these two at quarterback are going to be in that same situation, but if we don't get more bang for our buck with that pick, and other picks to move around the draft, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long season next year too, because we got a lot of free agent holes to fill. We got what 21, 22 players that are free agents. Some we're going to want back, some we don't want back. As fans, there's some we want back and some we don't want back, and it's just if the team agrees with us or not. If that's this, if that's the direction they go. You know, you didn't have Kuntz all year because he was hurt, so that affected defense. Wilkins getting hurt early in the season hurt. Yeah, nobody wants to see that, man. That was a nightmare. Um, I mean, I watched him play in person when they came to New York to play the Giants. A bunch of us from the club went down there to watch, and we lost 44-7 that game. And I was just, I was just miserable, miserable. He was so bad, so bad. Um, did I see him twice, or was it just that one game? I forget now. I don't remember if he was still with them when we played in Buffalo, because I went to the Buffalo game too. Trying to remember who's the quarterback then, if it was him or not. But either way, I know I definitely saw him in New York at the Giants. That was a shit show. Um, I mean, you can't score more than 7 points. And again, that was the Giants when they were still in that Super Bowl run. That those, they were still a Super Bowl caliber team because they still had Bradshaw and they had Jacobs. So I mean, that was a better team. It's not like the Giants now. But there's just so much opportunity for us to screw this up because as long as Mark Davis doesn't get involved in who we pick, I mean, he can suggest and everything, but that should just be leave that up to the GM. Let Telesco make look at the draft he just had last year. Those first three picks, he hit the nail on the head. All three, bing, bing, bing. He comes in with Bowers at number 13. Nobody saw that coming. I don't think anybody expected us to take Bowers. That's why based on our past history of drafting, if this was some of our past regimes as GMs and coaches, we would have super overreached for a quarterback at that point. And the next best quarterback that was available at that time was Penix, and he didn't go until the second round. So when it came to us and we ended up taking Bowers, and I'd seen some of his play from Georgia, I knew the kid was special. I knew it was gonna, if they used him right, it was gonna work out into something good. And we definitely used him right. Um, just think if we had a legit quarterback back there instead of Minshew for 3 quarters of the season far, how different how different he would have been. How much better he would have been. Um, and then we come back in the second round with JPJ. The kid's been awesome at that position. He's just been phenomenal at center. Since they moved him to center, he's been awesome. Let me see. Back in. Yeah, I can tell you, I'm willing to bet right now because if we fall to the second or third spot, that means it's either going to be the Giants or Jacksonville that's going to move up into the one or two spot. So we already know Giants are going to go for quarterbacks, and I guarantee they're going to take Ward. I don't think Sanders isn't going to want to go to the Giants. I see Ward going there. Jacksonville would probably take Travis Hunter because they need that playmaker on offense. They just don't have it. Now that would change that offense just with that one kid, just like it would change ours, but not with our current offensive line, that's for sure. I mean, I don't know enough about Jacksonville to say that, their offensive line can handle it. Who knows? They possibly couldn't. So if we do move back away from that first spot, they can finish with the second or third. You know, I guarantee those two players I just named are going to be gone already. Ward will be gone and Hunter will be gone. Um, After that, the next closest one would be what? New England. They're not going to need a quarterback. They'll probably go. I don't know. Would they go defense? I mean, they got Ramondre Stevenson, so they really don't need a running back. Not in the first round for them. Um, they're definitely not going to go quarterback, though. I mean, I could see them probably taking the best defensive whatever that pick would be, whether it be a cornerback or defensive end. Um, so they're out of the quarterback. Who's after them? What's the current draft order? Let me see. No, Tennessee's right there too. Tennessee could possibly take a quarterback. The Giants, Carolina, they're good. Chicago's not going to take one. Dallas will end up probably taking Genti. I can see that. That's got Jerry Jones written all over it. New Orleans, they'll be all set for quarterback. So yeah, I mean, either way, Shador and Ward would be gone. Well, the Jets are kind of right there too. Would they go quarterback depending on the situation with Aaron Rodgers if he wants to stick around or not. But there's just so many different possibilities that we could do with this pick, And again, like I said, it's all moot if until we know what's going to happen with the coaches. You know, is AP still there? You know, I know a lot of people are 50-50 on. Well, actually, I think a lot of people. There's more that would probably want to say goodbye to AP than there is to keep him. Um, the only way I would move away from AP is if we guarantee we get somebody like Vrabel. And I know a lot of people say, well, it's just another guy that's the Patriots way. No, no, no. The Patriots way with him is different because he went on and coached another NFL team with good success, with really good success. I would love to see Vrabel come in here as our head coach if AP is let go. If AP is not let go and they keep him on, then I'll run with it. As the coach, will deal with it. That's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. Will I be happy? Maybe, maybe not. It all depends on how we handle everything else after that announcement made, if he's staying or not. You know, but again, in a pipe dream, I would love to see Vrabel, and I'm willing to bet Dayball's going to get fired by the Giants at the end of the season. So if he gets shit canned, I'd love to see Dayball come in here as our offensive coordinator. You know, defense, I'd be okay with Patrick Graham staying as our defensive coordinator. There's only two coaches I wouldn't want to see terminated, and that would be Patrick Graham and Philbin, because I think Philbin's done a great job with the offensive line since he took it over after the bye week. You can see an improvement in the offensive line. You can see the schemes are a little bit different. They mixed the line up a little bit better, and I think he's earned the right to stay in my opinion, based on how that offensive line has kind of turned it around. I mean, they haven't been perfect. No offensive line is perfect. They haven't been, well, except for the Cowboys in the early '90s. Those guys were ridiculous. They haven't been perfect, but they've been good. You know, um, but the reason because a lot of people are like, why Dayball? There's a few different reasons for Dayball. Because if we're going to end up drafting a quarterback at some point in this draft, you want a guy that's had experience with taking a drafted quarterback and put him in the right path. Yeah, GPG is awesome. Yeah, Andre James can go. I'm fine with him. Bye bye James. Um, so Dayball's past history. Let's look at his past history. So first of all, before he went to the Giants, he came from Buffalo. So he had the biggest effect on Josh Allen and turning him around and turning him to what he is now. That's what started him becoming the player that he is now, was Dayball. Then you go back even further with Dayball. He was a coach on the Patriots. He's the tight end coach. And if you look back at the time frame that he was a head end coach there, you look at who was on the roster at that time. You had Gronk and you had Hernandez. So you had arguably the best tight end of his generation while he was playing in Gronk. Hernandez had that potential to be that same type of player until, he snapped the fuse in his brain and went and did what he did. So now you look at our team. If you bring him in here, you've got arguably the best tight end to come out of college in freaking years. And Gronk even said it the other day that he thinks he's just as good as what he was himself, and the potential to be even better. So now you take this guy that actually worked with both Hernandez and Gronk, and you put him with our team running that offense and coming up with schemes to involve Brock Bowers in the mold of a Gronkowski and Myers, Mayer with I do that all the time with Myers and just keep it. Think of Jacoby every time, so I just call him Mike Myers, but it's Mike Mayer. Um, if you pair him up with those two tight ends, just what that possibly could be, could be a thing of beauty. And then on top of that, so if he's already got these two guys in, he works with the quarterback that we're using as either the rookie or the stopgap until that rookie's ready, which should be AOC. And then you give him somebody like Travis Hunter and Jacoby. I mean, just look at how that offense has already improved tenfold from what it currently is. Then you bring in that free agent and Najee Harris with a rookie running back in there for him to mentor and McCormick for him to mentor. I mean, already you've improved that offense so much compared to what it is right now, with that potential to be a real well-oiled machine going forward, provided you can get the rest of the offensive line fixed. So there's potential. There's potential for a quicker turnaround than having to wait for another 2 or 3 years before this team starts to actually improve and get better. So there's a short way to fix this and make it look right. The defense doesn't really need too much. I mean, yes, we do need things, but we don't need a shit ton of players on the defense. We need more on the offense. Because on the defense, you already got Max. You got Wilkins coming back. Kuntz, if he comes back from his injury with the same play style and as good as he was before he got hurt, re-sign Spillane, re-sign Chase on. Because I'll tell you what, since we brought Chase on in, he's been phenomenal for us. You can see why he was the number one pick at one point. I mean, the kid's got talent. He needed a fresh start with a whole different type of scheme with different, better players, and it elevates his level of play. Just playing with Spillane alone and Max should elevate most good players. Because now they're striving to be like those guys. So we would need help in the secondary, but you don't have to go and get superstar secondary players, because if you keep your front line, especially your two defensive ends, if you get some top-notch defensive end to play opposite of Max, or if Kuntz comes back as strong as possible, you don't need superstar cornerbacks back there or safeties, because those ends are going to be in the quarterback's face and breaking down the play that you're not going to have to worry about, scrambling to cover wide receivers and shit further downfield. Still gonna have to cover tight ends because we suck at covering tight ends no matter how good our defense is. We just can't do it. Haven't been able to do it for years, and Kelsey fucking kills us every year, and it pisses me off how we can't stop him. But yet we play Denver, and Denver puts Surtain on Bowers, and he shuts him down. He only gets like 4 catches. It's kind of what Tampa Bay did this week. They took Bowers out of the game, which is why O'Connell looked so bad at one point, because he couldn't get the ball to Bowers on a more consistent basis. So I mean, the fix is there. There's a way to fix this and to do it in a quicker time frame if it's all handled right in the draft. Plain and simple. That's exactly what it comes down to. It comes down to the draft. The draft, the draft, the draft. It's using that first pick the right way. There's just so many ways to go with this. I mean, there's no unfortunately, there's no blueprint to lay out and go, well, if we do this, we're guaranteed to win a Super Bowl. It's just not the way it is. I mean, the NFL is a crapshoot. You know, you got to get lucky. You got to get lucky with players. I mean, Look at some of the players that have come out of later rounds through the years. Terrell Davis, Hall of Fame running back, 6th round. Tom Brady, 6th round. Going to be a Hall of Famer. I'm not going to dispute that. I mean, what he did as a player is phenomenal. Still can't stand the fucking guy, but again, that's a victim of living here in New England. If I lived anywhere else in this country, I probably wouldn't feel that way. I don't know, maybe. So it's like, so Andre, I gotta ask you, have you seen it? Have you seen any of the panels I've been on so far, or is this the first time you bumped into me? Because I don't think I've seen your name on anything else prior to. I appreciate the engagement, man. It makes this so much easier for me instead of me just sitting here going, "Duh, yeah." You're engaging me. I love this. I love this shit. You know, I wasn't even planning on coming on and doing anything. I was like, you know what? I got to talk to the club members, and so I figured I'd pump out a little, pump out a little something to the club members, and then just start talking about the team. I know Monday night we got Atlanta. I mean, that's a hit or miss game. You know, uh, Atlanta's going to be playing to win because they're still in the run for a playoff spot in their division. So they're going to come out and lay everything on the line, try and win that. They're not going to come out and just roll over. It all depends on the Kirk Cousins that we get Monday night. I'm just psyched to be able to stay home and just relax and watch the game. I'll probably be on live Monday night during the game. I mean, we've got so many holes to fill. This off season is going to be insane. This is going to be one of the most interesting and most active off seasons for this team that I could ever remember. You know, can I ask you a question? Raiders around. What pick? Who are you picking? Yeah, I did already talk about that, but I'll say who it is again. I think if the season ends right now and we have the number 1 pick, Travis Hunter. I don't want either one of those quarterbacks. I stand by what I say. I don't want either one of them. Why? Who would you take? Hopefully, it's nothing crazy. I know Andre's up for Travis. I mean, again, there's so many different directions you can go with that first pick. I mean, shit, you could trade that first pick away to move back in the draft if you really wanted to in the first round and stockpile more picks, whether it be a second round or a couple third, whatever, and plus the first pick that, for whatever team you trade with. If somebody's hard up enough for one of those players, they could put one hell of a deal together. If it includes a top caliber player that's not old and not injury prone, I'd be listening to that too. You know, like if the Cowboys came to us and said, "Hey, listen, we'll trade you our first round pick for yours, and we'll give you Micah Parsons." Huh? Yeah, yeah. Did you watch him last night after that game? That dude wants nothing to do with being in Dallas, man. I'm sorry, he doesn't want to be there. That's a dude right there. What'd you say? I got to bring it up on here because I think it's too small. I agree and good call. It's simple for me. Pick the best player that's available, and it's Boise State back Travis Hunter. Oh, or Travis Hunter. Sorry, I'm not a fan. I was gonna say Travis Hunter's not on Boise. I'm not a fan of these. I'm not. So, all right. So you're on the same. You're on the same page I am. I, I was I was all for uh, Genti, which is the running back you're referring to from Boise. There's a way we could still get him and Hunter. It's going to take some work, but it's doable. If you put together the right package deal, it's definitely doable. We take Hunter with that first pick, and I said it earlier, and then comes start like around pick 6. If he still hasn't been taken, Genti from Boise, then you start making phone calls and you offer up that first round in 2026 and the third round from the Jets that we got for this year for Devontae Adams, and you try your damnedest to get back into that first round. You try as hard as you can, and if it means we got to throw a player in there, throw a fucking player in there. As long as it's not Max or Bowers, anybody but those two. If it means Chase on, sorry, bud. It's all about fixing that offense. Defense doesn't need much to fix. I don't think so, in my eyes. You can fix a lot of our defense on in free agency. And still draft positions, but later on, guys that can come in and fill spots. We have no depth right now. That's the problem. And that's what we need going forward. We need guys to compete with each other for these positions. And we just don't have that. And a lot of our depth problem this year is because of injuries. What we have for depth sucks because we've just been decimated with some of these injuries. Just our quarterback room alone. I mean, our depth is not that good after O'Connell. I mean, you saw what Ritter did when he came in. Didn't look that great, you know. But again, he hasn't really had a lot of time to play either. So you really haven't had a chance to really evaluate what he can do with this offense. Which is why I was bummed when he got when they weren't going to start him when he was, when Minshew went out and O'Connell went out, and then they were like, oh no, Minshew's going to come back and start. So I mean, it's definitely a chance to get both those players. Just run first round. It's been long. Yeah, and that's exactly what it is, Andre. There's so many people out there that just want that quarterback. It's that shiny object. I want that new toy. But that is just, I'm sorry, that's just putting a lot of eggs in that basket for one player that's not even going to probably start this coming season. That's a lot of draft equity to give up. You just think about it. You're going to put all your hope in one player that's going to be kind of one dimensional because he's only going to play quarterback. He can't do anything else, you know. And you're going to rely so much on that one player that's not even going to play next year. And like I said before, draft equity. You're not getting anything else with him that's going to have an immediate impact, which is if you can't get him, what are you going to wait for another year before you draft a number one wide receiver? I know a lot of people are like, well, we can get Higgins from Cincinnati. Higgins is an injury issue, just like you don't want Chubb. Everybody's like, oh, we should get Chubb. No, I don't want Chubb either. Why would you not want to go for Najee Harris? Out of all the running backs that are going to be available next year, Najee Harris is the best option. You know, and I'm sure they'd be willing to part with him because Jalen Warren looks pretty damn good. And I think he'd be a hell of a starter for them where they could allow Najee to walk and not re-sign him. And he's not going to come for huge money either. We're not going to have to spend a fortune for him. So I mean, there's options out there if you just explore it. But everybody's got blinders on, and they just want Shador, and that's it. It's not even a Shador award thing. There's so many that are just on for Sanders, and they want him so bad, and then they want his dad to come and coach. No, stop that shit. It's like, no, you don't want him to come and coach. It's going to be a media circus, even if he's not the coach, because you put Shador in and he starts stinking up the joint, or the team's not adapting towards him, and we're not giving him the tools. And, it's not going to be Dion jumping on the media saying, hey, this and that. It's going to be the media going to him and asking him all these questions over and over and over again. And then we're back in the limelight for the wrong fucking reasons because now it's going to be all this second guess, woulda, coulda, shoulda. We should have done this instead. Why'd we do that? I just think if we draft either one of those quarterbacks, we're going to have severe buyer's remorse by this time next year. And if we rush and put him in and he starts stinking up the joint, guess what? Now the signs for fire AP are going to come back out again. And, we never should have drafted him. And I'm just going to sit there and go, I told you a year ago we shouldn't have. So don't be bitching to me about it because I already told you we shouldn't have. I don't want to do I told you so shit. But if it comes to that, I will. I'm not going to turn away from it. Not at all. There's just so many ways we can go with this that would just make so much more sense and just sinking everything into one player. I know it's not a popular opinion on what I've said as to what we should do because there's so many people that just want him. Let's see if we get rid of. Oh, that running back room's got to get cleared out. Zamir gone, gone. Like there's another show I'm on with the guy Leo, and he said that he goes, it's like we got catfished by Zamir because finished off the year looking good last year, put on all kinds of muscle weight, figured, oh, he's going to be better. It's horrible. And I made a comment on another panel a few weeks ago. I'm like, I think his ankles are broke. His ankles don't flex, so he can't make the cuts, and he just runs straight ahead, and he doesn't even move left or right, not even a little bit. He just straight ahead. Yeah, he's still got lobby too. So I mean, so we've between McCormick, a rookie we draft, and a free agent like Harris and lobby. I mean, you will have depth at running back. McCormick's already shown that he can play at this level with no problem. I'm granted, I know it's only 3 games, but he's gotten better every game, and there's no two ways about it. Let's see what happens Monday night. You know, prime time in the spotlight at home. You know, I hope he hits 100. I want to see if I tell you if he hits 115 yards, there's a good chance that we win that game because of that. Because that means we control the ball. That's what I thought was going to happen last week with Tampa because the way he was running, I thought for sure he was going to break 100 yards rushing. I think he had 100 total yards, but I thought for sure he was going to do it. Yeah, I'm telling you, Najee Harris, man, I'm pushing that. I'm pushing that scenario out there constantly now, and I'll start to get people to think that same. I'll convert some people over to what I think we should be doing, and hopefully, you know, get some. Get some people on my side because I took a beating last week on one of the panels I was on from the chat. If you don't take a horse in the draft, yeah, yeah, I got beat up last Wednesday when I pretty much everything I mentioned tonight about taking Travis Hunter and AOC being the because people are like, what are we going to do for quarterback? We already got our quarterback. It's AOC, plain and simple. He had an off game this week, but the whole team did. You know, So you've still got a quarterback in him. You haven't even seen a lot from him. You haven't had the opportunity. He should have started from the beginning of the season. It shouldn't have been Minshew. And I think a lot of that was obviously because of the amount of money that we were paying Minshew. It probably came from upstairs saying you need to start him if we're going to be paying him that kind of money, which is why I don't like owners getting involved in player personnel decisions. I'm not saying that's what happened, but I'm sure that's a pretty good chance that that's what it was. You're not going to pay somebody X amount of dollars to have them sit on the bench when you're paying someone that's getting paid peanuts compared to that guy and he's starting. Well, if he's the better talent, then fuck yeah, start him. Why are you wasting the time? Getsy was a horrible hire from the get go. That offense couldn't even get out of its own way. We had one really, really good game and we barely won that, and that was against Baltimore. You know, yeah, Minshew hurt us, man. I'm sorry. That was just what is, and I said this last night on the show. It was on, people expected Minshew to come in here and play like he did when he was in Indy. You remember in Indianapolis, he had one hell of a running back, Jonathan Taylor. He had an offensive line that could block, and he had a coach that knew how to use his talent and work that to his strengths. You didn't have that here. You had an offensive coordinator that just tried forcing Minshew to play to his system instead of you adapting to what Minshew can do. That's what good coordinators do is they look at their quarterback and they evaluate their talent and what they can do. And you run your plays or you build your offense around what that quarterback can do. If he's a pocket passer, then guess what? Then you work with a type pocket passing type offense. If he's a scrambler, then you're a little bit more lenient. You're running that, you're running that run play option shit. You know, you're not sitting there forcing him to stay in the pocket when he's not a pocket passer, or you're not forcing him to scramble when he's not a scrambler. None of our quarterbacks are mobile. None of them. Not single one of them. You know, I'm not a big fan sometimes of the mobile quarterbacks either because they have a tendency to get hurt. They put their body on the line too much. And that's the last thing you want is you want to go and grab a high draft pick and then you got him out there and he's running around like a nut and all of a sudden you break something. Or he gets another concussion. Look at Tua. gets a concussion. Two is so concussion prone now. Doesn't take much for him to get one. Trevor Lawrence, look at that hit he took a couple of weeks ago. That was a nasty hit. And he was sliding and he still got laid out. So you have to work your offense towards your ability of your players, of your quarterback, especially because your quarterback live or die by him, you know. So I mean, I'm just like I said earlier, I'm just glad that AOC's not down and out for the rest of the season. And because if it would have been his ACL, he would have been done for next year too, because it's so late in this season. He would have lost. He would have missed most of the season next year because there's just no way he'd be back in time for that. Leo, shush. I was waiting for you to come in here and bust my chops, bastard. So yeah, Andre, this is one of the guys that's so all over. Should I think? Are you secretly dating him, or did you get an Uber driver today? Did they give you any insights today? I'm not looking for long term with AOC. That's what everybody's misconstruing that. I'm looking at him as at least a year or two out of him as our starter until we're ready to put in a rookie, and it doesn't have to be Sanders. I just think picking him in the first round is we're giving up too much by taking him when we could take somebody else that's going to have an immediate impact. That's what you're looking for. When you pick a first round pick, you want somebody that's going to be an immediate impact for your team. So if we finish with the first overall, if you finish with the first overall, you take somebody like Hunter because he's going to play day one, whereas Sanders is going to sit for a year, maybe two, you know. And with the way our current team is right now, he wouldn't last 2 seconds back there at quarterback. He's going to get killed. I don't mind being able to escape the pocket, make a play here or there, but I don't want to see a pure running quarterback for that exact reason of him getting hurt. Yeah, that's always been my biggest fear with these mobile quarterbacks. You know, you watch who Sanders' entire career. Yeah, I Sanders will have an impact. He won't sit as long as people think. You don't know that though. But here's what's gonna. All right, let me ask you this, Leo. So partway through the season next year, they decide, you know what, it's not looking too good with our current situation. We're going to start him, and it's just a complete shit show. He just can't get anything done. So that's why I don't want Milrow. Yeah, I never said Milrow either. Um, I, so say it turns into a complete shit show, and he can't play to save himself because he's just not ready yet. And say AP is still the coach, so now is everybody going to start screaming to fire AP again? And then there's gonna be a lot of people second guessing, "Why did we even pick this kid? He sucks because he's not ready for the NFL yet." So now it's gonna look even worse because now it's gonna look like we totally wasted our first round pick for a guy that's just not even ready. I'm not saying he's not gonna be. I mean, there's a good chance he could with no problem, but you gotta look at the big picture here too. Unless we put in the right pieces around him, he ain't gonna do shit. With that current offensive firepower, I don't see him being like a superstar and coming out and having a great year. Yeah, and I agree with that one too about the quarterback. Yeah, he's got the quarterback, but if the quarterback himself is making stupid decisions, it's the quarterback. It's not EP out there throwing the ball. Just like everybody, would say shit about Minshew or O'Connell. It's like, he threw this interception, threw that interception. It's not the coach out there playing. It's the player that's making the mistakes. You can't blame the coach for everything. It's the player. If the player's not grasping, he's not grasping it. What do you say? I don't want no Bama QB. Can't just get to take the guy when he is there for us. I get that too, but I don't know, man. I just think we got the ability having having the first pick. We just got the ability to do so much more. than just go after one quarterback, one player. Yeah, OC is important, and who eventually is going to be the quarterback. If it's, if they stick with AP, if Mark decides to stay with AP, and if he doesn't, who's coming in? Who's the OC going to be? Are the Turner's going to be held over and be the the OC coordinate, co-coordinators or whatever they're going to be? Or is Norv going to leave and leave it up to Scott? Who knows? That's why. I mean, we can sit here and speculate and talk all we want until the season's over. And until they decide what they're doing with the coach, these conversations are just pipe dreams. It's all our own personal thoughts on what we would like to see. So until that decision is made, then we can really start getting into it, because if AP is gone, you're going to have a different quarterback, different head coach, different OC, and if you know who these guys are that are going to be coming in, what they've done in the past. You can easily just look it up and see what they've done before, who they've coached before, and see what success they had in those with those players in the past. Will give you a better idea on who they're probably seriously going to look at for that number one pick, if we still have the number one pick at that time, or just the first round pick in general. You know, so until that happens, everything that we talk about is just what I would like to see, or what you would like to see, what you think we should be doing. You know, so it's just a difference of opinions right now. You know, until that time. And until then, fuck Sanders. No, I'm kidding. I don't care. I know, but I just it's just going to be interesting, man. I said it last night when we were together on the show. It's like we're gonna have so much. This is by far one of the most. This is going to be one of the most active off seasons I think I've ever seen with the Raiders, ever. Just because it's everything happening at one time. There's the second guessing on what's going to happen with the coaches, the OC, the DC, what's going to happen with the draft picks, what's Brady going to be getting involved with, like what's his take going to be on this, what's Mark Davis going to want to do on this. There's so many different factors. And see, if Al Davis was still here, I don't think we'd be even having half these discussions, because he would have already said what he would want to do, and we all know that he wouldn't waver. Because if he sits here and says, "I want this player," we're going to do our best to get him, because that's just the way Al Davis was. He didn't waver from what he wants. If he wanted somebody, he got him, or he did his damnedest to try and get them. You know, in this current situation with this team, with the ownership and the management and everything, you have no fucking clue where we're going with this. You know, I mean, everybody's dropping hints here and there, like, is it Sanders? Is it Ward? Is it Hunter? And, if Al was still here, we already knew we would already know who we're going to take in the first round, especially if we got the number one pick. He would have already said it. I'm telling you right now, he would have already said it, because that's just the way he was. He was sold on Jamarcus Russell, way before the draft even happened. You knew that was coming, you know. So you don't have that with this current regime right now. You haven't had that since before Al passed away. Before he really started to get older and a little bit more senile and kind of lose things. But it's just so different. It's just so different this year. This year is just, I can't wait. I really can't. As much as I hate to see the season end and not watch football, the playoffs just obviously. I mean, not that we've actually got to see many playoff games for the Raiders the last 15 to 20 years. Playoffs obviously they're still the playoffs. They're still fun to watch. But once we're done, the Raiders are done playing. Man, start writing your lists up, man, because there's just going to be a plethora. Yeah, big word. Plethora of shit to talk about. So much. Just free agents alone, it could take up a whole goddamn show and for a couple of weeks. Who you want, who do you think we could keep? Then you start talking about the draft as it gets closer a little bit more. After the combine, especially, it's like, all right, this guy jumped up, this guy fell off the board, blah blah blah. You know, I have a plethora. Hefe, do you know what a plethora is? No, guapo, I don't. Um, there's so many different topics going forward after this. Just the coaching one alone is going to be a huge one. The coaching carousel that we're looking, everybody's talking about. There's so many different names being thrown around for that one. If the Lions win the Super Bowl, that opens up another one right there as the possibility. Because I don't think Ben Johnson leaves there unless they win a Super Bowl, unless somebody gives him something so enticing that he wants to go. Would you say sounds like a wasted word of the day? Yeah. I mean, he very well could go to Chicago. I know that came up last night too. And if you think about it, why wouldn't he want to go to Chicago? He gets to play against his former team that he was OC for, the coordinator for, twice a year. He's in the same division as the Lions. Of course he's going to want to try and knock them off now, especially with a young quarterback like Daniels. Hell yeah. I mean, Caleb, hell yeah. That would be a good fit for him. You know, Try and come in and prove a point. You know, our biggest factor is who the hell wants to come to our team right now in our current situation. That's the issue. You know, but again, having that first pick, having the number one pick in the draft is very enticing for a lot of coaches. You know, so we'll see. It's gonna be a lot of fireworks this off season, man. I'm so looking forward to it. I mean, I've only been involved with the whole YouTube scene since this, very early in the season. So this is gonna be like my first off season, you know, getting into, doing these talk shows, doing these podcasts and talking about, the upcoming season and the free agencies, the draft, the coaching carousels, all this shit. This is going to be a whole new ball game for me. I mean, not that I've always paid attention to it, and I've always had my opinion on stuff. Just never had a format to really put it out there. And now I do. I should have done this a few years ago, but I'm having a blast doing this. I love interacting with other fans, like Andre here. He's been in the chat the whole time talking. I appreciate your input, Andre. I mean, make sure you follow me, man. I'm in a few different shows. Wednesday night, I'm on the Raider Connection. Comes on at 10 o'clock Eastern time. Oh yeah, Leo, definitely make sure it stays fun. Oh hell yeah, especially if we don't, especially if we don't draft Sanders, it's gonna be fun for me. um, Thanks, Andre. I appreciate that, man. Oh shit, why is it going away? Don't fall in the world it takes. No, I know. We just say don't fall in the argument world of things. Yeah, no, I don't. I'm not going to argue about anything. It's just that that's my opinion, and I'm just going to stick with it. You know, that's just the way I feel. And I don't fight. I'm not a fighter. At least not on here. In real life, I am. Um, no. So on Wednesday nights we have the Raider Connection, which is myself, Leo, LV Raider 10, and Jay from Just Win Raiders, baby. Uh, we preview the upcoming game. So tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Eastern time, 7 o'clock Western, Pacific Western time. Pacific time, we will be discussing the upcoming game on Monday night against the Atlanta Falcons. Then on Thursday night, I have the Raiders Coast to Coast, which is myself and LV Raider 10. We'll recap Sunday's game from against Tampa, and then we'll also preview the game coming up on Monday night again with the two of us, and probably talk. Obviously, we're probably going to talk draft talk, players and free agents. We'll get into that a little bit. Um, I know Friday night, Rundown and Turf do a show on Friday nights where pretty much everybody hops in on that one. But I've also been asked Friday night at 7 o'clock. I've asked to help co-host the cage match with Asylum. I guess Savage isn't going to be around, so check that out. I'll be on with Asylum. I think it's 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock on Friday. And I know Raider Ben's reached out to me. He wants to get me on with him Friday night too. So I don't. I got to reach out to him. I don't know what time that's going to be on Friday. So I'm bouncing around. I'm in and out on a few different shows here and there, and preaching my point, baby. Preaching my point the best I can. I know Asylum is kind of on the same page as me as far as the picks. Um, Ben's pretty much there too. As Ben was in the chat last Wednesday, and him and I were both taking a beating um, about our thoughts on the whole situation. So, but again, I'm having fun, man. I'm having a blast doing this. You know, I've been a Raiders fan since 1976. I'm no spring chicken. I'll be 55 in May. Last time I saw the Raiders win a Super Bowl, it was 1983. I was 13 years old. So it's been over 40 years since I've seen us win a Super Bowl. And what's scaring me now at my age, it's like, if I got to wait another 40 years, I'm going to be dead. I want to see them win another Super Bowl. I don't want to be that Red Sox fan that hadn't won since 1918, and they didn't win until 2004. And anybody that saw that win was long gone already. I want to see them win. At least give me at least one. I don't care, just one. Let me see one Super Bowl before my time's up. I'm not getting any younger here. I mean, look at all the gray hair I got. Jesus Christ. And half of it's gray because the Raiders are fucking tearing at my heartstrings, motherfuckers. Drive me nuts. You know? So it's been a long time, man. And even when we did get great, well, when we were great, we gonna lose in the Super Bowl for a couple of reasons. One, our center goes MIA, so now we're gonna start the backup. Not that he was bad, but he wasn't that great either. And then Tampa Bay just blew us away because they knew everything we were doing. Because we had a dumbass coach at Callahan that didn't know enough to change the audibles. So Sapp said it in I don't know how many interviews since that Super Bowl that when he was giving the audible, we knew exactly where the ball was going, which is why the defense just shut down. We had the best offense in the league for 2 years running. Nobody could outscore us. And then they just made us look like a high school team out there. We couldn't do shit. You know, sad part is you watch that. That's how Tim Brown left our team. Was playing in a Super Bowl and then watching us get whooped. I feel bad for Tim Brown, man. Never getting a chance to win a Super Bowl. There's one guy that deserved to be on a Super Bowl championship team and just never got the chance. Yeah, Brad Johnson. And that's just another thing to show you there that you don't need a superstar quarterback to win the Super Bowl when you got a defense that's as good as like Tampa Bay. Look at Baltimore with was it Trent Dilfer was with them when they won the Super Bowl? Even Joe Flacco. These weren't superstar quarterbacks. These were serviceable quarterbacks with a phenomenal defense. Look at the Bears, the 85 Bears, one of the greatest defenses to ever play this game. Jim McMahon, not saying Jim McMahon was a bad quarterback, but man, yeah, those days are dead, but still, it's just, don't get me started. No, well, you can't hit like that anymore either because every little freaking hit you put on somebody, it's a flag gets thrown. But yeah, our quarterback gets pushed from in the back 5 seconds after the ball's already been released from his hand and no penalty, right in front of a ref too. I've watched that replay now. I don't know how many times, and it just sickens me how that wasn't called. How do you not call that? I don't get it. These refs, man, they're horrible this year. They're absolutely atrocious. How do you pronounce that? Android? Sorry, I mean, if I butchered your name, I apologize. Look how fans were crying about the AOC push that was just a push. Imagine if that not oh yeah, not area. Are you kidding me? My God. Oh yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, if that would have been back then and a push on a quarterback, the defensive guy would have turned around and go, "Shut the fuck up! What are you crying about?" Back when you could hit a player. You know, my God, could you imagine if like Al Zato came back to life somehow and was playing in this league right now? He wouldn't last one game. He'd get thrown out and fined, and they'd kick him out for the rest of the season. He wouldn't last. As soon as he would grab someone's face mask and rip their head off with the helmet, he'd be gone. You know, God. I mean, there's a rule. There's a rule in the NFL rule book that's because of him. With that with the game against the Giants when he ripped the helmet off the head. Roma. Oh, Romanowski. I'm thinking Romo, like Tony Romo, but now Romanowski. Oh yeah, there'd be so many. Oh, are you kidding me with the whole spitting thing that he did in Shannon Sharp's face? He would have been done right there for the rest of the season in this league. No fun league. Yeah, yeah, Ray Lewis too. But man, it's just a different breed. I miss those days. I really do. Those were that's when football was football. Now it's just a few steps below flag at this point or above flag. I'm telling you, it's getting it. It's going to become the National Flag League. The whole damn Raiders team would be banned. Yeah, you're not shitting, man. It would be too. Okay. Dude, could you imagine Atwater right now? The way he used to hit back in the day for the Broncos? Oh, good God. Forget it. Or even Tatum. You look at guys like Tatum, like that whole era would just there'd be nobody on the field. It would just be offensive guys on the field. Although there were some nasty, nasty offensive linemen. Um, what was his name? Conrad Dobler, offensive lineman. Oh my God, dude, he was dirty. He was nasty. Wisniewski was nasty. Yeah, Wisniewski was a nasty, nasty offensive lineman. I don't know if you ever saw some of the shit that he did, but he didn't take no shit from nobody. Not at all, man. Yeah, fuck Swan. Yeah, Ronnie Lott would hit too, but man, nothing like Atwater, man. Atwater was a fucking beast. You know, there was who was it that he hit on our team? Was it Bo Jackson? I think it was the only time I think I've ever seen Bo Jackson was just stopped dead in his tracks. I think it was him. Was that Atwater? I forget who it was now. He did it to one running back. I forget. Maybe I don't think. Maybe it wasn't Bo. I don't think he was playing in that era. I think he was just after Bo. But yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Atwater. Trying to think of someone else too. Dude, even fullbacks have changed. Look at what they used to look like. All star. Remember how big that bastard was as a fullback? Even Tom Rathman from the 49ers. Good God. Now these running backs, these fullbacks, they're about the same size, maybe just a little bit bigger than your starting running backs. They're not big, beefy bastards like they used to be. Allstott was huge. He was a big fucking runner. He was a big son of a gun. You know, I'd give you another big player, size wise. I don't know if you ever. I saw him in person, and I couldn't get over how big he really was. Um, was Jacobs from the Giants back back in like the mid 2000s. Oh my God. When you see him standing next to Ahmad Bradshaw, holy crap. What a height difference between those two. He was fucking huge. I went to the Giants game and he scored right in front of where I was sitting. He was just as big as some of the offensive linemen, height wise and everything. I'm like, good God, this guy's a monster. Couldn't even imagine being a defensive back trying to stop that. How do you even you can't even square up with him. He's just gonna crush you, especially if he's got a full head of steam coming, you know? But I think I'm gonna hop off. So it's been fun talking to everybody that's been in the channel. I appreciate everybody for hanging in there and interacting. Appreciate everybody. So don't forget tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Eastern time, the Raider Connection. We'll be previewing the Atlanta Falcons game. Then Thursday night, that'll be streaming on this channel also. It'll be on Leo's channel, LV Raider 10, and Just Win Raiders Baby, Jay's channel. And then Thursday night, it's myself. Again, it's myself and LV Raider 10 on the Raiders Coast to Coast. That is also 10 o'clock. Is it 10 o'clock? 10 o'clock our time, I think. I forget now. 10 o'clock Eastern. It's myself and LV Raider 10. That'll be streaming on his channel and on mine. So make sure you hit that subscribe and the notifications so you'll know that whenever any one of us go live. Don't forget to check out the Linktree account information. Let me put that back up here again, the Linktree. If you go to that Linktree account, it works off a QR code too, but if you click on that or if you copy that down, it'll show you all our social media platforms that we have for the club. So it'll be our YouTube channel, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, our Facebook group page, um, our website. So everything's on there all in one. Um, Anybody that wants to donate, they can towards the Road Home Rescue. We're doing a fundraiser right now for the club. We're raffling off a New England Raider Booster Club neon sign. That's pretty much for the club members, but anybody that wants to donate to the organization, they help in getting dogs adopted. Um, that's the website there. They do take donations through their site. Um, so they were also going to be donating some dog food to the organization along with some pet toys too, hopefully. So we're doing what we can to spread the wealth. We also do fundraisers throughout the year for the club, for the New England Raider Booster Club. The big one that we do is we do a pool tournament every year in May. And the funds go towards the Tomorrow Fund, which helps parents that are dealing with children that have cancer while the kids are staying in the hospital. The Tomorrow Fund helps the parents make arrangements for hotel stays and everything, and it's all at no cost to the parents, so the parents can stay as close as they can to the child while they're at the hospital. So it's a great organization, and what they do is just phenomenal because these parents are going through enough as it is. The last thing you have to worry about is room and board while they're trying to stay in a unfamiliar area, and they get put up in a hotel that's and it's not no some flea bitten hotel. I mean, they try and do them right and get them some really nice places. It's sort of like I don't know if anybody remembers the old Ronald McDonald houses. It's kind of like an organization like that, but they really do these people right. You know, so we do a lot of charities throughout the year with the club. So anybody that's in the New England area, on Sundays during the season, we're at the Providence Firefighters Hall at 90 Pintery Street in Providence, Rhode Island. We all get together there as a club with all the members and we watch the games together. So if anybody's ever in the New England area, look us up, hit me up on any one of any one of the social media platforms. We'll give you directions how to get to wherever we're at. It's usually at that location now. Don't forget, a good chance the Raiders are coming here to play the Patriots next year. So any of you guys are planning on coming out here, we'll know. Like I said, as soon as we know what the schedule is going to be for next year, we're going to be starting to plan it on our end as a club. So it'd be awesome to see some of you guys out here in person. It'll be a good time. It'll be a good time. I hope they do come here. I hope we do come here to play the Patriots because it's gonna be a lot of work too. Because it's gonna be a long weekend. Because usually what we'll do is we'll put on a Saturday night pregame party, and then also we're gonna have to figure out a tailgate too. But we'll figure that out once we know dates and everything. So again, I appreciate everybody that's been in the chat. As far as everybody that's been interacting with me, along with How did you pronounce your name again? I don't want to butcher your brother. Eh, Andrade. Andrade? Is that how you say it? Am I saying that right? It looks like Andrew. Well, I mean not Andrew, Andre. Yeah, Andre, Leo. Appreciate you guys throwing some comments in there, interacting, helping this make it a little bit easier to talk instead of just sitting there staring at the camera, going, "Hi, how are you?" But hey, Leo, if you're still there, one more thing. Don't forget, this is back on. It's back on, baby. Back on. All right, everybody, take care, and hopefully see you all tomorrow night. And again, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Have a good evening.